Hi, all. Kinsey Schofield here with ABC 15. We are currently looking at a semi truck that is reportedly stolen. This is out of Riverside, California. I have not on my screen personally seen any police pursuing, but the California Highway Patrol are allegedly pursuing this big rig, this semi truck, because it is suspected of being stolen. So we don't have a lot of details right now, but we are following this closely out of California. And I'm going to continue to look for additional details here. It's interesting when they do zoom in, when the pilot zooms in, you get a pretty good glance at the suspect. So I am surprised that this person thought this was a good idea today. There we go. That's the California Highway Patrol. You can see officers following pretty closely, but at a safe distance. Traffic seems to be completely non-existent here. Again, this is out of Riverside, California. I don't know exactly where they are right now, but at least originated in Riverside, California. And we are looking at a suspected stolen semi-truck. California Highway Patrol following closely. Obviously, so far we haven't really seen the semi truck driving recklessly. That seems to change whenever I'm covering these things, depending on how desperate they are or how desperate they get. But we're going to continue to cover this for you. I'm going to try to find additional details about this instance for you online, so give me a few minutes. All right, and if you're just now joining us, we are very limited on our information here, but we are watching a police pursuit out of Riverside, California. They are pursuing this allegedly stolen semi truck. We've seen, obviously, it's going at a pretty high speed here, but. And it's interesting to me that when they zoom in, you can see the suspect so clearly. Looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. When they zoom out, though, you'll notice that there are several California Highway Patrol SUVs that are following the suspect. Again, limited on our information, but we do know that police are pursuing the suspect that allegedly stole this big rig, the semi truck, out of Riverside, California. So we're going to continue to watch this, going to continue to look for additional details via Twitter and social media and see what we can gather there. But watching a pursuit out of Riverside, California, this semi truck allegedly stolen. Just searching comments on Twitter here. Jonathan Solon says, while everybody is focused on the semi-truck pursuit, a black Trans Am is speeding unchallenged down PCH. Again, this is something in California that does not even faze them. It happens so often. Not so much for us here in Phoenix. Mark Landry commenting something similar, saying somebody stole a semi-truck in LA and there is a high-speed chase on the freeway right now. Los Angeles is not dull on Tuesday morning. Again, we're looking at a semi-truck that is allegedly stolen. In the last I checked, we were in Riverside. I'll try to find some additional details on that. But last I checked, Riverside, California. And again, watch when they zoom in on the front of the car, you can see the suspect so clearly. Justin's just now joining me. You just got off the 11. How did you guys cover this on the 11? Because you were very limited with your information, as I am.
Well, we were wondering, where are you going to go with the semi?
Exactly.
Like, how do you expect to get away from authorities in a semi? And we're also just commenting on the lack of traffic. I mean, if you've ever been to Los Angeles, this is in the Los Angeles area, it's normally packed. And there just seems to be no traffic. But we can kind of see, once in a while, you'll see somebody getting on the freeway. So it doesn't look like they're blocking traffic at this point. But,
Right.
I mean, do you know what freeway they're on?
No, I think it was PCH.
Okay.
But we temporarily lost our feed. We're going to get it back. I apologize. But it is interesting because he looks to me like he's going at a normal speed until he passes another semi. And then you realize how fast he's actually traveling.
Well, and I think you notice, like, sometimes the camera will go in to the driver, and he just kind of seems to be
hanging out,
yeah. Just kind of chilling in the front seat.
Typical Tuesday. Hopefully our feed gets better. We're looking on Twitter to see if we can get any additional details for you. But then I've really only seen about 3 California Highway Patrol SUVs that are behind him. They're, they keep such a structured, safe distance. It's, you can see that obviously they're not new to this routine.
This is going to be on eastbound. It's eastbound on 60 freeway in Moreno Valley. So that, there you go. And apparently the driver is in contact with authorities by phone, and he says he does not want to go back to jail.
Oh, no.
Well, this probably, he's going to go back.
Yeah, no, he's made the wrong decision there.
Well, I no idea where he's going, though. And it looks like he's kind of getting out of a populated area at this point.
Andy tweets me, this vehicle is from a Texas-based trucking driving company, Action Career Training. Yeah, you can see the ACT on the back. Thanks so much for that tweet, Andy. I appreciate that. Let's see here.
It does kind of look like he's just going at a normal speed. Oh, see, they just passed an officer right there. You could kind of see the highway patrol off to the side.
And how are, I guess, stop strips, but, you know, they did the pit maneuver in Phoenix, what, a week ago? Or was it a week ago?
Just a little over a week ago.
Where they had to do that pit maneuver to get the suspect to stop out of Phoenix. I mean, how do you stop a giant semi-truck?
And we were talking in the studio, just watching this live feed come in as well. You know, this is pretty dangerous because you don't know where he's going, if he wants to plow this into something, if he wants to plow it into a crowd of people. So obviously, you know, I mean, it sounds odd to steal a big rig, but the threat is there, you know, to do a lot of damage. Well,
Absolutely.
It looks like he's getting out of town now.
I know.
Which that actually might be good.
A nice scenic tour that we're all going on here. Let's see. I'm looking at...
It does look like we've been tracking this for quite some time, and it looks like the highway patrol is getting closer to the semi now that they're out of that populated area, because they were trailing by quite a bit. You just kind of see those 3 squad cars back there, but it looks like they're getting a lot closer to them now.
And I have to imagine that they're also, because to us we just see 3 cars there, but I imagine that they're also following him by air too.
Well, and our ABC station in Los Angeles says that police, they are in contact with that driver right now. And again, he says that he doesn't want to go back to jail. You always wonder what goes through somebody's head when they do something like this.
I
You're going to steal a big rig because you don't want to go back to jail.
Enjoying his last few moments of freedom, I guess. There will never be a car chase like the one out of Los Angeles with the 2 suspects that were doing donuts, that were, they had the top down and it was raining and they were going up and down Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, they knew that their time was up. They pull into their neighborhood, they hop out and they pose and selfie and take pictures on the hood of the car. I mean, I think that is kind of the definition of a car chase. Like, some people are just like, these are my last moments. I'm going to put on a show, or I'm going to enjoy it. And when they zoom in on this guy, not a care in the world. It looks like he's cranking up Carrie Underwood in the vehicle, and
that's that. That's his Tuesday right there.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
Look.
See, yeah, he's just sitting in the front seat.
I don't necessarily see him on a phone. Do you?
No.
He just.
He's looking.
Whoa.
He's looking to see how close they're getting.
If I were in his position, though, I would not be intimidated of that presence, because look at the vehicle you're in.
Right, and we don't know what it's carrying at this point.
No.
What somebody tweeted us and said that this is a driving school.
Yes, let me look at that tweet again. It was Andy. It's a Texas-based trucking driving school, Action Career Training. But no, I am thankful, because in a lot of these chases out of Los Angeles, you are bumper to bumper. You watch the suspects plow into other cars. I always wonder how those cars deal with that when you're, nicked or somebody swipes you in the middle of a car chase. How do you, do you call Geico and say, I have no idea, but you can turn on the TV right now and see what I just experienced.
So apparently this is making its way into Gilman Springs right now. So if you're familiar with that area, that's where they are. But I've noticed this whole time, and we were tracking this on ABC 15 News at 11, there's only 3 squad cars behind him, and now it looks like he's doing something.
What?
Maybe he's pulling over. Looks like he is pulling over. Hopefully he's not going to try to turn this around.
No. Just kidding? So it almost looked as if he was going to pull over and stop, and then it looked like he had a change of heart. Or is he just is he zigzagging through the lanes?
So this is this is going to be eastbound, the eastbound side of the 60 freeway in Gilman Springs.
But I am thankful that he's not necessarily putting a lot of people in jeopardy like we do see throughout Los Angeles chases. You know, there has been, you see, you know, multiple collisions throughout just one chase, but it seems like for some reason things are dull in this little part of the world.
Yeah, you could kind of see him just kind of looking back at those officers, wondering what they were doing. And I imagine that that's probably going through their head too. Like, how do you stop this?
See,
oh, and
that
there's a police chopper just flying overhead.
Barrett tweeted me, this is a difficult area, very hilly and curvy. He will burn through a lot of fuel.
You got to wonder how he got the truck as well, because this is apparently a driving school. At least somebody that tweeted us
Right.
said that this was a
Oh, yeah,
driving
you can
school.
see, too, it says ACT right there.
So it does look like he's on the phone right there.
Oh, yep.
Looks like he's got the phone to his ear. I mean, police are
See,
saying that
do
they
you
have made contact with him, so...
To me, it looks like... To me, it looks now like he's physically uncomfortable. Do you think that they convinced him to pull over and they said something that he didn't like?
Makes you wonder how they actually negotiate somebody to stop.
And how do you get a hold of this guy? Does he call the cops and say it's me? How do they know who they're talking to?
That's a good question. I don't know. But apparently, according to our affiliate, ABC in Los Angeles, that they have made contact with them.
No, I'm not. I
So,
believe
mean,
them.
well, so,
I
I mean,
believe them.
is he on the phone with them? I don't know. How do you know who stole it and who called?
If he does have this truck for a specific reason, that there's a surefire way to know who to get a hold of.
Right. And
You know, when you hear stolen semi-truck, you automatically think somebody just jumped in a seat that didn't belong to them and took off, but perhaps he had this for, you know, maybe he is training or he had it for work and he wasn't responding, and that's why it was reported as stolen.
Well, he says he doesn't want to go back to jail, so it makes you wonder if he escaped, which there's no information on that, but you just still see those 3 squad cars. I'm surprised there's not more. A lot of times, especially in Los Angeles, you see
You've got a whole
so
team.
many. You got a whole team.
And they have almost like the vehicles that they have in Los Angeles are like Armageddon.
Right.
So you're exactly right. I'm surprised, but maybe they want to keep the presence low because I don't know. I mean, he outweighs them by quite a bit.
Right.
He is in something that could do a lot of harm. So perhaps they don't want to seem as intimidating. We're just obviously just talking it out at this point because this is so fascinating to watch.
Well, he was in a pretty populated area, so no idea where he's going.
Yeah, that's true. He could be headed to the outlets in Morongo. Yeah, that's interesting. Barrett says this is a popular route when driving to the OC, that he drives this route often, but if it's so popular, why is there no one on it? Because it's Tuesday?
Oh, here we go. Here's more officers
go.
getting on with them. Because we did just see the 3 trailing him, so it looks like these guys are getting pretty close.
But wasn't it interesting when we watched him pass other officers? Like, there were other officers, I don't know if they were just... Why were they just sitting by the side of the road? At least these guys are jumping on board. It was interesting to watch some of him just pass other officers and... If a documentary has not been made about why people do this, then that's our next venture.
So apparently it's making its way through Beaumont right
Okay.
now. So that's the area. It's eastbound 60. And the highway patrol just continuing. It looks like more are kind of getting in on this chase.
It looks like he's no longer on the phone. He does have his seatbelt fastened. still traveling at a very high speed. I don't even know if the sticks that they typically use with car chases would work in this scenario.
I wouldn't even know how to drive a semi. I mean, you got to think when you're going to steal something, it's like a semi of all things. You've got to know how to drive it.
That's why I suspect that he had this for work or he had it for training, and he disconnected from the people, did not return calls, or went rogue, and they reported it as stolen. I don't know if he just hopped into something that didn't belong to him and took off.
That makes sense.
Because the fact that they knew who to contact tells me that there is a relationship between him and the vehicle.
That's a good point. Well, and Dan Spindle was saying during the news that you obviously you have to know how to drive because you've got the clutch and the braking system. You just don't get in a semi and go. It's not like just let me steal this Honda and
Right.
go on a high-speed pursuit.
Right.
You obviously have to know what you're doing if you're going to hijack a semi. Well, you can see a lot of officers just kind of standing off to the side.
I know,
It looks
that's
like
so
more and more
interesting to
just
me.
keep joining the race or the pursuit.
It's a
It i-
race
it
to
is kind of a
shut
race.
it down. Oh, that's interesting. I guess I do see that. Andy says as they progress through different jurisdictions, different units will drop off and join in as they go. I guess I will say that I have always seen that. It was originally California Highway Patrol that was on top of this. I don't know if that's still the case completely. Imagine getting that call, though.
Well, at last check, he was making his way through Beaumont, and he hasn't changed road, so this was 60, the eastbound 60, making his way through Beaumont. And it kind of looks like now he's getting into a more populated area.
Barrett says he's now on the I-10, but I will wait till ABC7 tells us that. And it's if you look up just semi-truck chase on Twitter, it's amazing how many people in Los Angeles are like, typical day, just at the dentist's office watching a high-speed car chase.
You got to admit, this is a little bit different.
For
us. Well, it's not every day you see a semi
Well,
stolen.
that's true. Oh, no, okay, so I have heard this. This I heard from the desk earlier. So Kyle tweeted, "I don't want to go back to jail. Don't steal a semi-truck with toxic waste in the bed." I did hear that from the desk, that there was something weird in the bed. Something toxic.
Well, even if there wasn't, you have to think of the damage that he could do just driving if he wanted to.
Right.
He could do a lot of damage because he could obviously drive that semi into something or someone. And they're obviously not shutting down traffic because there's a car
Yeah.
cruising along right beside him. Or if that's an undercover vehicle, because it looks like they are speeding up to be right next to him.
Oh, I know. But here's another vehicle, though. Unless... Also, we are a social media eccentric world. That could be somebody just trying to get a picture. Why are there a million Donald Trump tweets in this semi-truck LA thread?
Okay, so he did merge onto I-10 in Beaumont. So this pursuit has been going on since began about 10:30.
A part of me wants to call that trucking company and say, "Hey, can you tell me more information about your missing truck?"
So the driver apparently has told the California Highway Patrol that he does not have weapons. but he did say he does not want to go back to jail.
Okay, so
So hopefully this will end peacefully.
stolen semi with hazardous material, possibly radioactive, is what I'm reading online. Simba tweeting, how are you going to continue a police chase in an 18-wheeler? We are watching it. The only thing I don't like about this angle is that we can't see how many officers are currently pursuing the suspect. Last we checked, we could clearly see 3, but I saw an addition of 2 or 3 vehicles that jumped onto the highway probably 5 minutes ago, but we have not seen collectively how many are pursuing the suspect right now. We have seen oh, there we go. 2?
There's 3.
Okay. We saw the police helicopter not too long ago. And police have been in contact with the suspect. They say, again, to repeat, Justin, no weapons. He does not want to go back to jail. We actually see him on his cell phone sometimes when they zoom in. And there are reports that there is toxic waste in the bed of that car, in the bed of that semi-truck. So a pretty uncomfortable situation. We're hoping it ends peacefully. We're hoping it ends soon.
Yeah, this has been going on for quite some time. Apparently 10:30 this morning, this chase started.
That's
So
insane.
that is a very long time to be chasing somebody. But, just 3 squad cars, and we've seen that. I mean, we've been tracking this for about an hour or
Right.
so. And so that's pretty much all that we've seen is just those 3 squad cars just kind of trailing behind him, keeping up with them. At one point we even saw him start to pull over and then changed his mind. So
And really, we have not seen him driving erratically aside from speed. He did that. We thought he was pulling over at one point, and he kind of took up 2 lanes to jump back on the highway. Interested in what caused that. I don't know if he had momentarily thought, okay, I have to stop, and then they said something that made him uncomfortable, so he jumped back on the freeway. But he's, been driving, been responsible in regards to other lives that have been on the freeway so far, which I have to say I'm grateful for, because in California we don't always see that. And they are pursuing this suspect because they say that the vehicle, the semi-truck, is stolen. However, I immediately thought that he just jumped in it and took off in it, but I do think that there has to be some sort of relationship with this big rig, and I think that that's why they were able to communicate with the suspect. And it's like, Spindle. Oh, temporarily lost the feed. Hopefully we'll get it back anytime now. It's like Spindle said, that's kind of a difficult vehicle to jump into and just start going. Well, we normally don't lose a feed completely like this. Typically, if they leave, it's to get gas, and we actually see them take off into the opposite direction. All right, Barrett, who lives out there, tells me that there are only 3 police cars that we can see following the suspect, but there are many other officers, often on ramps up ahead. They can't do a pit maneuver on a semi, yes, that sounds like that would be a very bad, especially if there's radioactive material inside
Right.
of it. That sounds like a terrible idea. If he has hazmat on board, he has either removed the diamond place card or it does not have a hazmat load. Andy, thank you for your tweet.
Well, hopefully we'll get our feed back. It just kind of dropped out on us.
I know. All right, well, we're going to go to our SAT center and figure out where our shot went. Thanks so much for your patience. We'll be back in just a minute.
And we're back.
All right, we are back. Justin, refresh your feed.
I did.
Okay.
There's no new information yet.
I feel like when we get a feedback, they should be like, and an update.
And
That's
an
our
update.
job.
I know, right? Right.
So our
Do you want to
feed-
recap it?
Absolutely. I'm gonna let you recap it.
Okay, well, this has been going on for like 2 hours now. So we're in Los Angeles. This is apparently on I-10. And I always say when we have these high-speed pursuits in Los Angeles, what freeway are they on with no traffic? Because
Exactly.
every freeway that I'm on in Los
At
Angeles,
least when we're there,
at least
we're stuck.
we're
there for
stuck
hours.
in hours. And anytime this is I-10, and it's just like when you take I-10 to LA, it is packed. But apparently he has found the route less traveled. But
Right.
this semi, we've got a wide shot of it for some reason right now. But you can kind of see it right there.
In the center of the screen.
In the center of the screen, you can see those 3 squad cars behind it. This has been going on for about 2 hours. But apparently, the driver of that semi, a guy, he's been in contact with the California Highway Patrol saying that he does not want to go back to jail. So he apparently stole the big rig and decided to make a run for it. So they have been tracking him for at least 2 hours, just really going all over Southern California at this point in this big old 18-wheeler. But we don't know where he's going. No idea, really. Even
I don't think he knows where
I don't think he knows where he's going, and we're not sure exactly what is on board this semi. But you got to imagine. That area looks familiar. I've gone past that place quite a few
Me
times.
too. It's always my favorite.
It
'cause then
is.
I feel
You
like I'm almost to
You're,
Los Angeles.
you're almost to Los Angeles.
In-N-Out Burger is delicious there, by the
It
way.
is,
Right there,
yeah.
that stop.
And it looks like, at this point that they're really not even stopping traffic because you
know.
can just see, for sure, these are civilian vehicles. But it looks like at this point one of those highway patrol officers is getting pretty close to the car, which they've kind of kept their distance
Yeah.
for the last couple of hours. But now it looks like they're trying to get close to him.
People are telling me via Twitter that they are not allowing people on the freeway, but we're seeing so many cars. I mean, we keep basking in the glow of the lack of traffic, but at the same time, we are seeing other vehicles on there that are
Right.
clearly not undercover police cars because they've got trailers hitched to them, and
Right.
so I don't know what the situation is there.
So this is I-10 eastbound. This is going to be in Banning right now. So he is definitely
He's taking
obviously
quite
had a
trip.
full tank of gas.
He's halfway here.
Yeah.
We just might as well roll out the red carpet for him in Phoenix.
Well, you got to wonder where he's going to end up.
I know. And we've had some people on Twitter giving us great feedback in regards to how this trip can be so hilly and so curvy, and he is going to burn through so much fuel just because of the track.
Right, and actually, I mean, at this point, it's really going to start to get hilly.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't know how to drive a semi, this could get really interesting because those hills right outside that area are pretty. They're pretty rough. Sometimes if you're in a car, I can't imagine.
I know. They tell you, to
and
turn your AC off, and
I know,
like you're
right,
gonna. So all sorts of warnings in regards to how difficult that trip can be. So we'll see. And he has been hooking it for the majority of the trip. Sometimes I didn't think he was going that fast until he'd fly past another semi, and you'd realize that he really was going at a much higher speed than it appeared on camera. And we did see him. It looked like he was going to pull over once. He did a weird, it almost looked like he was going to try to turn around, didn't
Right.
it?
Yeah.
That was strange.
And so here's another semi that he's pulling up
Approaching,
on.
yeah. Too, in Los Angeles, I often see people that try to intervene with crazy car chases, and you see people that will thrust their vehicle in front of the car or try to block them. You're not doing that with a semi.
Right. No.
You are not doing that. I'm wondering if the police feel paralyzed because he's in such a huge vehicle, and people are telling us that there is a substance in that vehicle that
Right.
could be dangerous.
Well, even if there's nothing in it, how do you stop it? And like we were talking about, Phoenix police doing that pit maneuver
Right.
on the bank robber just a few days ago here in the valley. How do you stop this at this point? I have no idea if stop sticks are actually going to work on a
I know.
massive semi.
I don't believe they would, so it's almost like they just have to ride it out. And I'm wondering, we temporarily lost our feed, but we're going to get it back. I'm wondering if those 3 cops are different cops, that the other ones backed off and 3 new ones jumped in line, because we did see additional police officers take to the streets. So
Right.
I'm wondering if they kind of replaced them because the others were running out of gas, and if that's just going to be the strategy until he runs out of gas, where they just follow. Let's see if I'm actually going to see if I can pull this up from our ABC website. So give me 2 seconds if you can. I'm going to see if
So apparently we saw he passed we saw the roof.
Right.
But those were the outlets, those big outlets out there
and
that
isn't
a lot
that
of people.
a casino?
It was a casino that he passed, and then he passed the outlets that everybody likes to stop to on their way to Los Angeles, or if you're coming back from Los Angeles.
Right.
So this is going now into its second hour, but sometimes they're in a pretty far area, so that's possible why we lost that feed temporarily from the chopper.
Let me find another one. I don't see a live video, do you? Yeah, no, that's a very touristy area, so I am glad that people, if they are really keeping people off that side of the road, I'm glad that they are, because they could be in harm's way.
Yeah, Barrett just tweeted us. He bet he's 5 hours from Phoenix.
Give everyone your Twitter handle in case they want to.
It's at Justin Pazera, Pazera. So again, we're trying to get this feedback.
Let's see. When we lose the feed, typically we're losing it. A lot of other people are losing it too. So stick with us.
I mean, that chopper is in a pretty remote area at this point, so.
And I've never seen a chase go this far out of Los Angeles, although it did start in Riverside. How far are we outside of Riverside?
Not sure. Well, he was on the 60 for a while, and he is making his way eastbound, actually towards Phoenix,
I know.
on I-10.
That's why I'm saying. He says he doesn't want to go back to jail. We have no idea what his history means or what that entails or why. And I do believe he has something to do with this truck. Otherwise, I don't know if they would be so confident in calling their suspects, communicating with the suspect. It's. Let's see. All right, Justin, give them a recap while I try to do some more technical stuff to get this feedback.
Well,
Start at the
basically,
beginning.
well, we've been this has been going on for about 2 hours. It started at 10:30. So Kinsey is trying to get a different feed up so we can watch what's going on. But we've basically been seeing this semi truck on just trying to get out of the Los Angeles area, actually like headed eastbound into Phoenix or towards Phoenix at this point. But the driver of this semi just telling the California Highway Patrol that he does not want to go back to jail. No idea how he got that semi though, but we've heard that it was a trucking school semi. Not sure what's on it, but we've just kind of been thinking, how in the world are they going to be able to stop this semi?
But wouldn't you say there should be there obviously is a serious concern with the substance on the truck because the police are being so delicate with the situation. I mean, this has gone on for so long.
Right.
There's a reason why they're being so delicate in regards to that vehicle.
And Aaron just tweeted me and said that, this is not hazmat because there would be a highly visible placard on the side of that truck. But so that's good news, but you still have to think, what could he do with that semi? Obviously a lot of damage if he decides to drive it into something. He's getting into a more remote area at this point of California, so the California Highway Patrol just has to figure out how exactly they're going to stop this semi.
Well, I'm going to mute the microphone and go beg our set wall.
So we are going to go.
find us
We're going to go find a different
shot.
feed.
Yeah. One moment. I'm Kinsey, Kinsey, ABC15. Watch my Twitter. I'm gonna link us back up if I get the feedback. All right, we are still here. We're trying to get an engineer over here so we can get you this feed back. I apologize for the inconvenience. What we're trying to do is bring you this feed of a stolen semi-truck. This pursuit started in Riverside. We are now in, was it Banning? Last we checked?
Yeah.
The suspect allegedly stole the semi-truck. I believe, he was connected to it somehow because officers have actually been in communication with him. Sometimes we see him on the phone. Sometimes when you zoom in, you can actually physically see the officer or the suspect. About 3 officers pursuing him. Give me 2 seconds to try to get this feedback.
Oh, I like that. I like the thing with our.
All right, we are live again. This is a live look. A moment ago, I was giving you kind of a recap as we figured out. Yeah, but we're on YouTube right now. We have viewers on YouTube. We'll go back live on Facebook once Yonner's up. So we are just now getting this feedback. I don't know. Is he headed in the opposite direction, or did our helicopter move?
Let's see.
We're going to get an update on the direction that our suspect is heading. We were just listening to our, basically our coworkers at ABC7, our distant coworkers, and they were saying they're actually discussing if it heads into Phoenix. So, very interesting.
So this might be a different chopper because our ABC station in Los Angeles, it got out of range. I mean, you can see right there just all of those mountains. It's actually on I-10 eastbound headed into Phoenix, into the Phoenix area. So the Los Angeles chopper, it was out of their range, so they had to switch over. So I don't know whose chopper we're actually getting right now, but this is coming into the Phoenix area, and this guy is still going. I mean, this is going for 2.5 hours now at this point, and at this point you have to think he knows how to drive a semi, because if you've ever driven from Los Angeles into Phoenix, you know how hilly these roads are, and he seems to just be taking these with no problem at this point.
That's perfect.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
He is just slowly creeping along at this point on these mountains, but this has been something. I mean, we've just been watching this for
I know, since 10:30 this started.
Since 10:30, we've been tracking this, and we've seen. We don't know if these are the same California Highway Patrol officers or if these are different ones, but we've just seen 3.
Right. We did see a helicopter.
We did see a helicopter. We do know that he's being tracked by a helicopter, but now it's. I don't know. Hopefully, for those 3 officers, those 3 troopers, there's more backup. That's not too far behind. But, again, this is headed towards the Arizona border at this point. He's a little bit, a good distance still from the Arizona border, but he is definitely headed this way eastbound on I-10 at this point. But he's been taking folks through these highways in Southern California.
No, and keep in mind, we do know that he has told the officers that he does not have any weapons on him.
Right.
So, but at the same time, I've had multiple people tweeting me that we were incorrect in regards to it being a driving school, that ACT is a has waste disposal, and there are warning place cards on the side of the semi. They've linked me to it. So perhaps he doesn't have weapons, but the police might be considering the entire semi-truck as a weapon.
I think that, the entire semi, at this
Right.
point, they look at it as a weapon, because you have to figure, what is he going to do with that semi?
Right.
At this point, thankfully, he is in a more remote area. So if he were to lose control of this semi, because we really don't even know how good of if he's actually a semi driver. So.
Oh no, we're only on YouTube right now.
Oh, okay. Can you do it on Facebook too?
Yeah, will you put it in Play 1?
Yes.
Thank you. TriCaster. TriCaster and Play 1. This is Kinsey. Hey. Yeah, we're already on it on YouTube. Okay, I'll do that right now. Thank you.
Who was that?
Justin, we basically run this place, is all I have to say. Everybody's
What?
telling us to do stuff we're already doing. We are on the chase. We're like Paula Zahn.
We on?
Yes. So what we're going to do is Justin's going to kind of give you a recap as I get a new Facebook going.
Okay.
Thank you to our YouTube watchers, though. And
Yeah,
please
thank you.
subscribe.
Thank you. Yeah, please subscribe to us. You can tweet us. We're watching our Twitter accounts at Kinsey, ABC15, and at Justin Pizzera. So right now you're looking at that semi just kind of leading the pack right there, headed eastbound on I-10. This is headed towards the Arizona border at this point. So basically that semi-truck driver has been leading Highway Patrol on quite the chase. We're looking at going on 2.5 hours right now. At some point, he stole that semi somewhere in Southern California. Not sure exactly where at this
I will
point.
say it. I will say that when I first was notified of it, that the driver was in Riverside, California. So that's how it began for us here in Phoenix. That's when we jumped on board of the chase.
So that's when we jumped on board, and this driver has been on the 60. He's now on I-10, headed eastbound. So these 3 Highway Patrol officers just kind of keeping their distance at this point. But apparently he has had contact with the California Highway Patrol. He has told them that he does not have weapons on board that semi, but he does not want to go back to jail.
But when I just thought about this, we've discussed how safe everything seems, and how we're happy that he's in this really weird remote area. Actually, look, he's in this small little town now. That's different. But if you're so desperate that you don't want to go back to jail, might you do something concerning? As I think everybody's.
Okay, I'm not sure if he's stopping for stoplights. What's going on right here?
That's interesting.
And there was some discussion in Los Angeles. I was listening to their live feed as well, as what happens if this driver does cross into the Arizona border. Who's going to take over this chase? And
Right.
it looks like apparently now he's off I-10. Still, again, don't know where he's going. But if
But
he were to
you've
get...
gone an hour and a half without the cops taking you down, perhaps you're thinking to yourself, I might stop for another tank of gas. They're not bothering me. They're keeping
Well, they
a distance.
They actually are keeping their distance at this
We see
point.
another-
Now we
look,
see, here
we
we go,
see-
now we see more.
Right.
So maybe they're kind of amping this up. But yeah, I mean, he's been driving for 2.5 hours, and the ABC chopper in Los Angeles, it got so far out they had to basically turn around because they're out of their range and they have to refuel the helicopter as well. But it looks like he is off of I-10 going through a pretty a town at this point. So we're going to
Right.
try to
He
figure
is-
out exactly where he is at. So we don't have an update on exactly where this semi-truck driver is at, but you can just still see those 4 California Highway Patrol officers
Which
just
we
kind of
did
trailing
have-
this guy.
We do have an addition because for a while it was only 3. So there is an additional officer that has shown up. What we know is we have people telling us that if you are just tuning in, because I know we're now live on Facebook. So if you are just tuning in, this has been something that Justin's actually started covering on the 11 a.m. broadcast. We are now it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we are still watching this suspect suspected of stealing this semi-truck, this big rig. It started for us in Riverside, California. Now we're halfway to Blythe. I mean, we're basically
Right.
This has been, we've watched the driver for hours now. We've seen him, feverishly make phone calls. We actually heard from our ABC affiliate out there in Los Angeles that the officers have been in contact with the suspect. The suspect has no weapons and simply says he's upset and doesn't want to go back to jail. He has, for the most part, been very respectful of other drivers on the road. I believe personally that there is a relationship with the semi-truck and the suspect, because otherwise how would officers know who to contact? And how would you know how to drive and steal a semi-truck?
Right.
So,
I mean, obviously he has had some training in driving a semi-truck because he was on I-10 just a short time ago and, headed towards the Phoenix area, headed towards the Arizona border, and those mountains in there, and he just drove those like it was no problem at all. So obviously he has some kind of truck driving experience. Hey, but there was a lot of question on what happens if he does cross into the Arizona border, since he
Right.
was traveling in that direction. And apparently folks at ABC in Los Angeles, they were saying, some of their experts were saying that DPS would then take over this pursuit
Interesting.
for us or for them. But then basically that suspect would then be extradited back to California, but DPS here in Arizona would then have to take over that pursuit. But we can just...
What were they saying? They were saying, oh, look at that, at the bottom of the truck. That's interesting. What were they saying? They were saying something about this not being a felony, or I just was kind of in and out in regards to what, but it becomes one when you cross state lines in regards to this truck being stolen.
Well, that it's not necessarily a felony for... that's what their expert were saying. I'm not a legal expert, so I'm not sure what kind of ramifications this driver is going to have to face. He says that he doesn't want to go back to jail, so he obviously
He's
has
on
some.
the wrong path, Justin. He's
He is
on the
ve-
wrong path.
He is on the wrong path because for sure he is going to go back to jail after this. But we don't know what he was in jail for, if he escaped out of jail. We don't know what exactly happened. I mean, we don't have any reports of this driver escaping jail.
And we don't
but
have any reports that the driver is a violent person by any means. We do know that he has told the officers that so he got off the freeway before he went into the big hills. Barrett tweeted me. That's interesting because we have been concerned about fuel throughout this entire trip. And especially with him going into those curvy, windy areas, fuel has got to be a concern for this driver. So he did exit the freeway before he went into some of those dangerous areas. Interesting. People are telling me that the audio is much better on YouTube than Facebook. Thank you for letting me know that, Kay. I will figure out why that is. But also people complaining that it's not a high-speed chase. Quickly, while you say that, give me one moment. Let me show you something. This is from earlier. Again, this is from earlier. This is not live. This moment right here is from earlier. That I would say is high speed. He has been going high speeds. We're back to live. He has been going high speeds throughout this chase. He perhaps is concerned now because he's dragging something. The belly of his truck looks like it's falling to pieces. So perhaps he's going slower because he's concerned about gas or because of the hills. But
Okay, so now he is headed northbound on 62 in Yucca Valley. That's where he is headed. And apparently there is a California Highway Patrol airplane that is now overhead. That is tracking this, because it's been going on for 2.5 hours, and I know
Right.
just Air 15, when we launch it, Air 15 can only be up for so long because
Right.
it doesn't have a lot of fuel. It's not like an airplane or a jet, so they have to stop and refuel pretty frequent. So the ABC chopper in Los Angeles had to stop, and you'd imagine that would be the same thing for that California Highway Patrol officer. Or chopper as well, that it'd have to stop and refuel. So apparently that airplane now is following this big rig.
And I do have Barrett tweeting me that theft of hazardous material is a felony. Again, we're not experts.
But we don't know if there is hazardous material. There's a lot of discrepancy. There's a lot of debate on what's actually on that semi. But in any case, it's dangerous because it's a semi. He can use that in any way that he wants to.
Yeah, and
at this point.
it brings back the question: what is the objective? Is the objective just to get away, or is the objective to steal a semi, or is the objective to steal something within the semi? That's always what kills me when I watch these chases. What is the objective?
Right.
And we don't know. We have very little answers in regards to that.
The suspect says that he doesn't want to go back to jail, but we hear this often. It's just they want to make a run for it. They don't want to go back to jail, but obviously, this is not going to end well for him. He is going to go back to jail if, this peacefully ends. But at last check, he is headed, he was on I-10, headed towards Arizona. But at this point, he is on northbound 62. Which is in Yucca Valley.
I'm being told that the what I was complaining about dragging is a windbreaker that saves truckers in gas. I have never seen that while on the freeway, but I am usually
pay
not
attention.
checking out the truckers to my left or my right when trying to get back to Phoenix or Los Angeles. But again, I think this is so interesting for us because we drive this so often.
Right.
So to us, this is just...
And if you remember back a while when that I-10 bridge collapsed and they did
Yeah.
a detour around the I-10, this is part of that road
Oh, that's interesting.
that they had to detour. Actually, I had to do that for one of the stories. I drove the detour.
Oh.
Yeah, it took forever.
That's-
But this guy, he's been taking these hills like a champ. He obviously knows how to drive a semi because you just don't hop in a semi and take off. You're not just rolling through the hills in a Honda.
Now that we've panned out, to me that's frightening. That to me is scary. I can't imagine trying to do that trip in a semi. It's like you said earlier, this is somebody that has experience with a vehicle like this. Otherwise, I can't imagine hopping into something and taking on hills like that.
Right. So, I mean, he was in the Palm Springs area. So if you're familiar with this, if
I'm a
you
little jealous, to be honest with you.
well, if you've if you've made the trip back and forth from Phoenix to Los Angeles, a lot of you might be familiar with this. He's on Highway 62 in Yucca Valley right now. He does seem to. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell from this vantage point right now how fast he's going, but it looks like he's going up a hill, and it looks like the California Highway Patrol have also backed off quite a bit. They were trailing him pretty good. There was about 3 or 4 squad cars
Right.
behind him, but apparently they're also tracking him by air. There's a Highway Patrol officer. Airplane, excuse me, that is hovering over him, keeping an eye on him as well.
And this is absolutely, without a doubt, I used to cover these on a weekly basis. This is absolutely, without a doubt, the longest police chase I have ever seen in my career. And I'm assuming it's because this is a huge truck and perhaps there's delicate material on board. Otherwise, I can't imagine how you can let something like this go on for so long, because look at how empty those roads are. There's plenty of opportunity to block him. Why couldn't a couple of them just park right, there and, not allow him to move any further? To me, it's baffling that they aren't stopping him sooner.
Well, I don't know. One reason might be because he didn't, I mean, other than stealing a semi.
Right.
Like the case here in Phoenix that we saw a few weeks ago or a few days ago. I mean, the guy robbed a bank, and he was very violent. And at this point, the guy has not been, according to reports, since 10:30, he hasn't been violent. So that's
Right.
probably why we're not seeing, the California Highway Patrol being
Being more aggressive.
more aggressive at this point, is because, he's saying that he doesn't have weapons on that semi truck, so they might not be as aggressive then trying to stop him. Eventually, he's going to have to come to a stop. He can't drive forever in that semi. Eventually, it's going to run out of gas. But look, I mean, obviously, there's folks out there taking photos.
Wow. This is O.J. Simpson 2.0. Remember, they had signs for O.J. They did not have cameras on their phones yet, but they did have signs. They stopped. Everybody wanted to be a part of it.
Well, we did see some cars kind of, when he was in the more populated areas, getting up close to him. Because I think word on social media just got out so fast, so they were driving up pretty close next to him. That didn't seem to faze him.
And as much as we know that car chases in Los Angeles are a pretty regular thing, to your point, semi trucks being stolen anywhere in the country is a unique situation to cover.
It is, and we were talking about this earlier, just, how do you stop a semi? You just don't do a pit maneuver
Right.
on a semi. So the Highway Patrol there has to figure out how they're going to stop this guy, hopefully.
And obviously they're trying to do it peacefully. Obviously they're trying to do it very carefully. But look at all of that empty space. I am amazed.
It looks like they do have some traffic stopped there, though. That's what it looks like. It does. Yeah, so it looks like they are kind of keeping that traffic back at this point. And again, look at all of those people just on the side.
Hanging out.
And it looks like he's slowing down.
It does.
There is a stoplight there.
Maybe he's obeying the law. Little pause.
Looks like he's deciding what to do.
And it did feel like there was that one moment about an hour ago when we felt like he was going to pull over and stop the vehicle, and he didn't. That was the only time I felt that there was any hesitation towards him, and I don't understand what happened. But moments later, we saw him on a cell phone.
Well, and it's interesting, we've seen him at a stoplight before, and it almost looks like he's slowing
Yeah.
so he doesn't hit anything.
Right. That's so strange, all of those cars along there right there. Just kind of taking his time,
Again, our lower third is covering it up, but let me show you there. You can see one officer that we can see, but we've seen 3 to 4 throughout this chase. There's 3. Let's see if there's the 4th one. If they show it to us. Nope. So we've seen officers keeping a very, very respectful distance throughout this entire chase. We have very few details about the suspect, except he has apparently spent some time in jail for unknown.
Okay, so apparently this guy has been leading. I mean, they're on an airplane, and we do know that the California Highway Patrol has been tracking him by air. But apparently, he's been on the 15 freeway. He's been on the 60. He's been on eastbound I-10, actually headed towards Arizona. A lot of folks thought that he would be heading into Arizona, and there was a lot of talk on who was going to be taking over that pursuit if he made it that far. But right now, he is on Highway 62. And I'm just reading here from some other media reports that spike strips are not effective on this size of a vehicle. So that is why that they have not used those spike strips.
Look at all those tires.
Right.
That would take quite a bit.
That would take quite a few
Spike strips.
spike strips.
No, I mean, it looks like the strategy here, and I have seen Los Angeles be aggressive. This, of course, is the California Highway Patrol that we've been dealing with. I think the strategy here is to just let him run out of gas. And he is dramatically slow. What's happening? Look.
Here we go. He's
Oh, I don't know.
trying to turn.
Oh,
This
I
is
don't know
not-
if that...
this
Oh,
is not a-
yep. In it to win it.
Okay, so obviously he knows how to drive a semi.
Yeah. If there was any question...
If there was any question if he knew how to drive a semi, he does.
I wouldn't have taken that turn, but I'm not a semi-driver expert, so... And
look
now
at
he's increasing his speed. He was very slow. All of a sudden, he's increasing his speed, passing by the Western Union and a very cute little yellow bug.
I'm gonna go get my charger.
Okay. All those people on the street taking photos, trying to get a glimpse, and waving at the suspect. And if you are just joining us, we are watching a pursuit. A man stole this semi-truck. It originated for us in Riverside, California. We have been giving you this since about 11:30 a.m. We've been giving you this live stream, but we have heard that this has been going on since 10:30 in the morning. Here we are, 1 p.m. Arizona time. Justin putting in overtime for you. Bless his heart. He started this chase at 11 a.m. during his show here on ABC 15. So if you were watching that, our television news broadcast at 11, you saw the beginning of this chase. And here we are at 1 p.m. Watching the suspect continue to escape police officers. We've seen 3 or 4 vehicles chasing him. That's a news vehicle. Did you see him just pass that news vehicle in the center of the... We know that the suspect has said he no longer wants, or he doesn't want to go back to jail. He has no weapons. We don't know what his relationship is with the semi-truck, if he works for this company, if he just knows how to... Look at how closely this car's following him. That's interesting. Another news van. So this guy has got to know all of the attention that's on him right now.
You know, somebody just tweeted, because we were talking about, this has got to end at some point, but Daniel just tweeted me and said the average truck holds 120 to 300 gallons of gas, so it's likely he can go 780 to 1,900 miles before he's on empty.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he can go a while then.
Yeah, let's see. I also had a tweet about that. Aldred tweeted me, that truck can make it across half the country on a full tank. So Phoenix is what you're trying to tell me. We better, Air 15, put him on high alert. Do we know what direction he's headed in now? I'm all turned around. It really did feel like
He's in 29 Palms. That is where he is at right now.
Are we
So
going to see all of those beautiful?
well, he's headed back. He's headed back in towards, I believe, the Palm Springs area
Oh, wow.
right now, because he was headed in the opposite direction. Then we just saw him flip a Yui basically,
Yep.
with ease.
I
mean, it was
know.
actually quite impressive.
You and I were holding our breath. We didn't think he was going to make it. We were like, the end is near. He was going to turn over, but no, just a
No, so he's
beautiful Yui.
so he is in the 29 Palms area of California.
And the patience of the California Highway Patrol. We cannot talk enough about the patience of the California Highway
I know
Patrol.
they have been chasing him since. I mean, what, since 10:30 this morning?
Right, that 10:30 this morning,
So we're talking about a 3-hour chase.
a 3-hour tour. If you think about it.
Yeah. He's been on multiple highways.
They've actually changed the, in the past, they were all in, did you notice that they were like in a perfect line when they were
Right.
following him
Right.
originally?
And it seems like now they are in each.
Yeah,
a
now
lane.
it seems like they're kind of spacing out. I think it would be fascinating to hear the psychology behind the way they behave, the officers behave during these chases. And I know that their objective is probably to get the suspect safely. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. I mean, they have been very respectful of his space throughout this entire chase. It sounds like they've been in communication with him throughout the chase, and they've spoken to him, and we've actually seen him on a cell phone, which was interesting to see that. Our helicopter hasn't actually gotten us that close as of recently, but sometimes the helicopter will show us right into that truck bed, and you can see the suspect driving. He looked perfectly calm and comfortable at the beginning of this morning. I wonder what his mental state is at this point.
Well, I mean, you could see him at some points. He was looking out the window, like looking in the mirror, trying to see, how close. So.
And again, thankful that there aren't too many people on the road that he could harm in case things do take an interesting turn.
So at our last check, he was in 29 Palms, in the 29 Palms area. He flipped a Yui there.
Oh, interesting.
He was on Highway 62.
Tomcat NASCAR tweeting us, don't forget there is a CB radio inside the truck. Police could communicate via that method too if it's on. That's very interesting, and you're absolutely right.
Well, and it could be on because it seems like he does know
What he's doing.
what he's doing. I mean,
we
because
all saw the Yui.
we saw him make that U-turn with ease in this big rig right here. And I mean, he's not plowed into anything. There's been no accidents for nearly 3 hours now as he's driven through pretty heavy traffic at some points because he was making his way all through Southern California. So he's just been making his way through this area. So again, he turned around. So again, 29 Palms. He is on Highway 62. And you can just really see as that camera just kind of pulls out, he is in a very remote area. I believe he is headed towards the Palm Springs area. Wow. I mean, and you got to think, like, even if he were to bail,
Yeah.
where are you going?
I know.
There
And
is
by the
nowhere
way,
to go.
The fastest way to get caught is to jump out of a car during a car chase and
Right.
head in any direction. It's
Right.
the fastest way to get caught.
I mean, he's been telling, the highway patrol there that he doesn't want to go back to jail. But dude, I mean, where even if you were to stop and try to make a run for it, I mean, there is nowhere you're going to go in that desert.
And I was telling you, I make this trip all the time alone. And it's so concerning to me because there's all these signs that say turn off your air conditioning here, warning your car might overheat. And this guy, he's in this big semi truck. He's been in it for 3 hours? And we don't know what the motive is. We don't know what the objective is. I don't think he knows where he wants to go. Only time will tell where we end up.
Yeah, and again, I mean, just to kind of recap, he's been telling these officers that he doesn't want to go back to jail. But we
Right.
don't know what he was in jail for. We don't know if he escaped jail. This is a good way to go back,
Absolutely.
taking him on a 3-hour tour of Southern California.
Right. But at least we can call off Air 15 and say we don't think he's
Yeah,
headed in
I
this
mean, there was a
direction
lot of
anymore.
talk about him. Even the stations in Los Angeles were kind of wondering what was going to happen because he was eastbound I-10. He was headed towards the Arizona border.
And specifically, they were saying, will he be punished more for crossing that line, for crossing the
state
border?
line, right? But he is. I mean, if he were to cross, they were saying that Highway Patrol here, DPS would take over the pursuit, and then basically once he was caught, they would extradite him. They would ship him back to California, to Southern California. But still, you can see folks just on the side of the road right there, just taking pictures of him. By now, this has been going on for so long.
Right.
People have gotten word that this chase is going on, so they want to come out there and snap that photo of the truck that's been on the run.
And in Los Angeles, it's an event. In Los Angeles, when there is a car that there's a high-speed car chase, they cut off the soap operas.
Right.
Dr. Phil is on pause, and everybody stops what they're doing and they watch it in the nail salon, in the restaurant, and in the boutiques. It is for some reason in Los Angeles, it is an event. So,
Well, this is certainly something that you don't see all the time. I mean,
Right.
a high-speed pursuit or any pursuit in Los Angeles, of course, you see, but a stolen semi, not the case.
Milko asks if the police have contact with, they said the prisoner. The police have been in contact with the suspect. They have said that he assured them that he has no weapons on him, and his concern here was that he did not want to go back to jail. So that's the very limited information we have from the California Highway Patrol. But the California Highway Patrol did stress that they have been in communication with him. And he's been, as far as I, have seen, very respectful of other people on the road. But it does look like they've been clearing the road. But it does seem like he's been really respectful of people on the road, unlike other chases I've covered, where people are just kind of plowing into others in traffic. It will be interesting when all is said and done with, though, to get a recap of everything start to finish from the authorities.
It'll be interesting to see who he is
Right.
and what he actually did to lead police on this kind of a chase. I mean, that's now going on the third hour.
Right.
I mean, that is quite the chase. But the California Highway Patrol has just been keeping their distance this whole time, even when they've been through town.
And we know they're not tweeting, because I'm all over their Twitter feed right now. So I was hoping that they were going to give us some updates in regards to their strategy or where it is. We see a lot of, I don't know, have you noticed this, how good police officers and offices have been about keeping people updated? The Dallas Police Department was so absolutely amazing during those officer-involved shootings, keeping everybody updated on what was going on and what their strategy was. I think the objective there was to make people feel safe, but I've seen, officers and stations really up their game in regards to social media, which is very helpful for the media, and then at the same time, it makes the public feel safe, like they're in the loop and they have a better understanding of what's going on. So I've noticed that
I'm here to help you, California Highway Patrol, if you need if you
Well,
need some help.
at last check, he was in the 29 Palms area of California, just slowly making his way through that area. And we really haven't seen, we've been tracking this for a couple of hours now. Yeah, and we really haven't seen any erratic movement from him. Even when drivers just get right up next to him, probably to snap a photo, he's just been kind of staying that same speed, not even trying to ram anyone. So it's been interesting to see his behavior. And obviously, just a few minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, he flipped a Yui in the middle of that highway.
I know.
No problem.
Right.
So
We were watching with bated breath.
he's obviously had some experience with driving a semi truck.
Ryan asks me if chases like this happen a lot in the U.S. He's watching from the U.K. Not semi-truck chases. The semi-truck is the new addition, but we do have car chases a lot in the United States. Just last week, we had one in Phoenix, Arizona that ended with a very violent and upsetting pit maneuver. It had a lot of people worked up because aside from the pit maneuver, then the suspect pulled out a gun and was shooting at officers. And on live television, a lot of people saw the suspect. It was a bank robbery suspect. They saw some pretty horrific sights. So we are thankful that the California Highway Patrol has been so delicate with this. This is such an intense situation. Because we've heard different reports in regards to actually what substance is in that truck. So you have to praise them for their patience.
Well, apparently this driver has not done anything violent at this point, so this is probably why you're seeing them being so cautious with this. I would
Right.
imagine if he upped the ante a little bit, then the Highway Patrol would have to do that as well. But
Right.
apparently this started at 10:30 this morning in Apple Valley. And apparently a sheriff's deputy spotted the stolen truck and attempted to stop it.
Oh, wow.
And so now we're seeing the results.
Oh, you see that's
He
5
obviously
cars.
has not stopped, but that is how this all started. He attempted to stop that driver in unincorporated Apple Valley, again, 3 hours ago,
Right.
our time. And he's just now led police on quite the chase. He was on the 15 freeway.
Yeah.
We saw him on I-10. He actually headed towards Arizona, went through Palm Springs, went past those outlet malls that everybody likes.
We love the Kate Spade Outlet Mall.
Kinsey loves Kate Spade.
Yeah.
He was on the 60 freeway, so I mean he's been on a lot of highways.
Right.
He's taken them on a wild ride, and they have been so patient. And you're right, it's based on the suspect's engagement with them, and so far he seems to have been, in the instance with the Phoenix case, that suspect was,
Was incredibly violent.
incredibly violent. I had Erie tweet me. He may not wish to go back to jail, but honestly, how many people have gotten away from the police by running, especially in a high-speed chase? That's a very good point.
Okay, so apparently he is headed back towards I-10. So it's going to be interesting to see where this is at. He made a U-turn on Highway 62, and apparently he is now heading back towards I-10. Not sure what direction he is going to be going to on I-10. It's possible that he could start to, head towards Arizona.
Oh, so that's interesting. I thought we were just packing up and going back to Los Angeles, but he could be.
We don't know what direction he's headed towards I-10, and not sure what direction he is going to, if he gets on I-10, and what direction he's going to be going. If he's going to be headed back towards, the Palm Springs area, the Los Angeles area, if he's going to start to head towards Arizona.
And a lot of the reaction online is people freaking out over the fact that this is a semi-truck. But I feel like because it's a semi-truck, it's almost boring because he's so limited in the amount of
Oh,
U-turns.
here, look at all those Highway Patrol officers that are on.
wow. Yeah, because with cars, you see all sorts of. I'm going to remove our lower third for 2 seconds. With cars, you see all sorts of twists and turns, and I'm going to trick you guys and take a left when you thought I was going to take a right. Not here.
Yeah, it is very limited on where he can go because we've tracked Air 15 has followed these pursuits through the valley. I've watched him quite a few times, and it's in a car you can do a whole lot more, but on this he has just been very limited on where he can go, which thankfully that's a good thing because there was a lot of talk on if he could use this thing
Right.
as a weapon.
Yeah.
And you have to think that he could potentially plow this into folks in a shopping mall. There's a lot of concern on what he could do with the semi, but apparently he's made really no threats at this point. Just, he's stolen that vehicle. Quite a few highway patrol officers. It looks like more have
Multiplied. We have multiplied.
yeah,
here.
they've multiplied because we've just seen a few kind of trailing him.
And Vicky Mosier asking, have they considered putting down nail strips to pop the tires? This is something Justin and I have been debating throughout the morning. Those are a lot of tires. That is a big vehicle. That is simply not the case in this instance. It takes a lot more than
Yeah.
some spike strips in regards to a semi.
Apparently the spike strips do not work. On a car you only have 4 tires, but on this you've got to try to pop all of those tires. It's just not going to work. And I
Right.
imagine those tires are probably pretty sturdy as well, not like a car tire.
Right.
Not like your Honda.
Yeah. I don't know why you had to just the Honda, but
I'm just saying, I'm just throwing
kidding,
Honda
I'm
out
just
there.
kidding. No, so this has been something we have been watching for the last several hours. A little disappointed because with our other helicopter, we had some really great visuals inside at the suspect, at the driver. To me, he appeared to be a white male. So to me, it appeared to be a white male. We saw him talking on his cell phone at one point. But with this view, we're thankful to have our feedback, but unfortunately we're not getting the kind of close-ups of the suspect. But we saw at the beginning of the chase, he seemed very comfortable and was not fazed by the attention, because when there's helicopters flying over you and you've got multiple cop cars following you, So he seemed completely unfazed by it. There was a weird moment where we thought he was going to pull over. He changed his mind and hopped back on the road, and it was moments after that we saw him on his cell phone. And then also we've heard from the California Highway Patrol that he has been in contact with them and they are communicating with him. I'm going to drop our lower third really quick so you can
Look at
get
that area.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Look at that area, and you have to think,
Where are you going to go?
Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go right now? Even if he were to bail, this could go on. This has already been going on for 3 hours.
Okay, so let's say you're going to jump in and run into one of those houses. The cops are like, all right, well, we've only got 10 options. He's in one of these 10 houses.
This is just kind of crazy just sitting here watching it. We're trying to figure out, it looks like
And so many news trucks.
There's a
We've
news
seen
truck.
so many news trucks.
You got to hand it to the news people. We're tracking it. So this apparently right now what we're watching is near Morongo Valley. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That just to kind of give you a location. I'm not sure where that is at. Obviously very, very remote.
Right.
But again, this began in Apple Valley.
I kept saying Riverside, but that's when we caught wind
Yeah,
of
that
the
was when we
chase.
caught. It was Riverside County apparently that he was leading these cops on this chase, but it began in Apple Valley, and apparently they tried to. A sheriff's deputy noticed this truck and it was stolen, and so he attempted to stop it, and.
Don't you wonder
Obviously no.
if that deputy is still on board, or if he, like half an hour ago or an hour ago was like, well, it's my lunch break, I'm out.
I don't know what the protocol is on that. What they do.
I'm Team Megan here. She tweeted me, you also have to consider the unknown cargo. Obviously, the driver is trained, but a sudden tire loss could cause a spill. See, I think that they are being so delicate with this guy because of something that is on that truck. That is what I believe. This is Kinsey, this is not Justin, in case there's any confusion. But my concern is what is the cargo, because perhaps they are being delicate and keeping a distance because this guy doesn't appear to be violent. But at the same time, if they were to, does it look like he just increased? I don't know, his speed. But at the same time, could they be so delicate with this driver because of something that he's transporting is my question.
That's a possibility, because we don't know at this point what is exactly on board that on board that semi at this point. And we think it's just him. It's just him in that car right now.
Any idea
so-
how many miles he's gone so far? I have no idea, but Justin, go ahead and list off the freeways again that he's.
Well, he was on the 10. He was on the 60. What was it? I think the 15. I think.
Yeah.
What he was on. I mean, so this is 3 hours, and he has been on the highway pretty much this entire time, at least as long as that we've been tracking it. We've been tracking it for a few hours now. But I mean, look at this. He was in a very congested area of Southern California, and now look at him. He is all the way out. He's apparently he is approaching the 10 freeway.
And
at this point.
Are those officers or those just people?
Those
on the
look
side
like
of the
people.
road?
So he is approaching I-10 at this point. Not sure what direction he is going to go on I-10. And it's
that's
funny, if you
find out.
watch him, he is at a stoplight again, and he almost comes to a stop every single stoplight. We've watched him.
Right.
He's almost cautious as he goes through these intersections
No,
not to hit
I
somebody.
don't think he wants to hurt anyone because he's again on the freeway. People are telling us that they cleared the freeway for him, and I don't know. I can't confirm that. But when there were other vehicles on the freeway, he was very careful with them. You're exactly right. And he has stopped at stop lights and stop signs, or at least done the California stop, which we all know. We all have a family
Just
member that
gotta
does
roll.
the California roll. But I do agree with you that he's being, oh, it looks like we got our ABC7 feedback. Did you see how the sat feed changed
Is
right
that
there?
what that was?
Yeah. I do agree with you that he is being considerate of others, and
Is there a way to stay with the other feed, or?
Justin, it's no time to be picky.
I was just wondering because we lost the feed because the ABC chopper that was following it. Obviously, I mean, at this point, he's pretty far
Out.
out of
Yeah.
Los Angeles, and these choppers can only go so far. But we heard that at this point, a California Highway Patrol officer or airplane is actually following him
Yeah.
at
And
this point. So it looks like he is merging. It looks like he is merging onto apparently I-10. This
And
is
if
this
you-
is I-10.
If you watch closely, you can see the shadow of the other helicopter. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
So what if you watch when it's wider, you can see the shadow of the other helicopter kind of hovering above, which is an interesting visual.
Okay, so I believe he is on 10. He is on I-10. I got to try to figure out exactly what direction he is going on I-10.
All right, I have Andy tweeting us that it looks like he's headed westbound towards LA on the 10. Justin's going to confirm that for us here any moment. But again, thanks so much to Andy for the tweet saying it looks like he's heading westbound on the 10 back towards Los Angeles, California, closer to where this all originated. Still, the cops keeping that incredible distance.
Waiting to confirm exactly what direction he is going on I-10, but he was on Highway 62. He was approaching I-10, and it looks like he has merged onto I-10, but we're just not. It does appear that he's westbound. It does look like he's westbound, but we're just waiting to try to confirm exactly what direction he is going.
And I feel like this is more of a Friday issue. Imagine how many people are completely paralyzed right now because they are so invested in this chase, and it's only Tuesday.
Right, right. Still working to see what direction he's going on.
All right,
I-10.
we are headed west on the I-10, heading back towards Los Angeles, according to the Desert Sun.
Okay, I mean, it's got to make you wonder. Obviously, now it's going to get more populated.
Right. That's very
That
concerning.
that is very concerning then, because the traffic is going to start to get, pretty thick. You know that drive from Phoenix to Los Angeles, and as soon as you get approaching that Palm Springs area, and I mean, it's pretty much just heavy traffic from then on out.
Right. Absolutely. So we, I wonder what this, is this the area?
Not sure.
All right, we're going to continue to bring you coverage of this stolen semi truck out of Southern California. Milko asks when the police will come with a statement. Typically, sometimes we see officers, they're very good about updating their Twitter feed. Unfortunately, they have been so busy with this extreme chase over the last few hours that the California Highway Patrol haven't said much online at all about this chase. But they will inevitably come out with a statement and discuss it probably once everything wraps up. So thank you for the question, Wilco. Thanks for the tweet.
Do you have the link?
So sweet, if you say so, dearie. Says, I'm amazed that you two keep coming up with more commentary for this truck chase. 10 points to you. Thank you. I'm going to favorite that. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can...
He's getting off. He's exiting at this point.
Yep, here we go.
So this might get interesting. He was on... We do know this is I-10 westbound, but it looks like he is taking an exit.
He's definitely slowing down.
And you gotta wonder like what the Highway Patrol is thinking right now, what they're trying to figure out, what they're going to do
What is he doing?
at this point.
I'm concerned that there could be a complete stop.
Is this a rest area? This appears.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Get out of town.
This appears to be a rest area that he is stopping at, and he is pulling
This
in
is quite the rest.
to the rest area,
Honestly, he deserves a rest. He's been on the run for hours.
and he is pulling into a parking spot. This is I have never seen anything like this, and we have covered some pursuits, and he is actually parking his semi in a parking spot.
All right, this is when it's going to get. See what
So
happens
hopefully
next.
this is going to end peacefully. This is,
Yes.
we are just
Absolutely.
over 3 hours now. And look, he is getting out of the truck.
Zoom, 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 zoom.
Do we need to, is this on delay? And it looks like he is surrendering.
Yeah, he has no weapons.
And this is it. 3 hours. He parks his truck. And he's walking towards officers right now.
Wow.
Can you believe this?
All right. I'm going to give you.
We're going to
this
look at it.
view.
We're going to
Take a
look at this.
that
Here we
view.
go. So this is, it looks like he got off on a rest area. Let me see if I can figure out exactly where we're at right now.
I'm gonna switch back when I get a better view. But look at that. That's obviously a young white male.
Apparently this truck is
Oh,
contained
look
70.
at how close the cops are.
This does contain non-explosive, non-radioactive materials. And this is it. This is it, folks. We have been watching this for 3 hours, and thankfully this ends peacefully.
Yes.
I mean, this is
We
what we
are so
wanted, but you can see the
thankful.
police dog there off to the side. But he has taken the Highway Patrol on quite the ride for 3 hours
Right.
on multiple highways through Southern California. So I'm sure now we're going to hear who this guy is. He's been telling officers that he does
doesn't
not want
wanna
to
go
go
back to jail.
He doesn't want to go back to jail. And obviously he's going back to jail.
Yeah, this is not his day.
This is not what he wanted.
You're right. But look, do you see him patting him on the shoulder? See the officer? To me that was a kind gesture. I mean, I could be
Obviously somebody that's been doing this is distraught,
right.
you know, and not in the right mindset. You know, but he's been telling officers this whole time that he has no weapons with him. But it's been over 3 hours. 3 hours, 10 minutes.
We have seen
The-
all of California. I mean, if you felt like you wanted to road trip, you are ready to road trip right now.
You know the area quite well now.
Right.
Yeah.
Found I mean, here's a perfectly good rest stop in case, you know, you need options. We're at one right now.
So it's just he pulled in. It appears to be a rest area, and actually parked the semi truck. Didn't even attempt to run from the highway patrol. But in this case, he is in a very remote area.
Oh, yeah. You're just. But if you're
There's
one
really
of
nowhere
those
that you can
other
go.
trucks and you pulled over for a nap, I can't imagine how you woke up just now. If you're option 1 or 2 and you pulled over just to get some shut eye, or maybe to stop and grab a popsicle or a soda pop, this was a rude awakening.
Well,
for
and
you.
look at everybody pulling over right now.
Are they
Look
trying to
at
take
this.
pictures or they
Look
just-
there. Look at all of the
But
people
what if those were
trying.
undercover cars, though?
They would be. I would imagine that the undercover cars would be with them. And I have stopped at this rest area many times. Yeah.
Oh.
So this is interesting just to see this all unfold right here. You got to think.
I'm going to give you this view really quickly, this alternative view, so that we can stay on top of the suspect. But yeah, that's what an afternoon. I need a nap, and I'm still here for several hours. You get to go home. You started covering this on the 11 a.m. show. If you
Right.
are an ABC 15 viewer, which you absolutely should be, Justin started at 11 a.m. With some interesting breaking news out of California.
Yeah, it started. We started tracking it, because it just kept going.
Right.
So we brought it to you live during the 11 o'clock newscast, and then we've just been streaming it this whole time now. But almost just over like 3 hours, 10 minutes that they were pursuing this guy who apparently the sheriff's deputy, he spotted it. It was stolen, tried to stop it. He wouldn't stop. Somehow police figured out who he was, or they made contact with this guy through this whole process.
Right.
And I mean, really, you were talking about the tour. I mean, he went on quite the tour for
Absolutely.
over 3 hours all through California.
And if you enjoy watching stuff like this, if you like, car chases, political events, you can find all of that on a regular basis at abc15.com. You should subscribe to our YouTube channel at ABC15 and make sure you like us on Facebook, again, ABC15, because we bring you this kind of content every day. So make sure you stay with us and you continue to be our friend.
Yeah, this is at a rest area on I-10. Headed into Los Angeles. So
That's going to be quite a different ride returning for him.
yeah, that's going to be a long ride
Yeah.
back to the the station on that one.
It's going to be I have a feeling it's going to be like a therapy session.
Yeah, you got to imagine what's the conversation like in the car, in the
Right.
squad car.
Right. I would say, can I please have McDonald's before you take me back to jail?
It's good that this ended so peacefully because
I
we were wondering how
agree.
this was going to end, if he was going to use this truck as a weapon.
Right.
But now we get to find out all about him, who he is, and why he doesn't want to go back to jail, what he did.
And I'm sure you noticed people tweeting us saying, is he looking for a place, I hate to even repeat it, but is he looking for a place to end it? We had people asking us that.
Well, that's obviously a concern even for us because we don't want to show that.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going to happen anytime.
And
during
obviously
these
he wasn't,
pursuits.
so we are thankful for that.
Yeah, but peacefully ended. Actually, parked that truck
Yep.
in a parking spot.
Right. After stopping at every red light and every stop sign.
A very respectful pursuit. You can see him now. The highway patrol just kind of cuffing him up, searching him. He said that he has no weapons, hasn't had any weapons.
Right.
So just cuffing him and putting in the back of that squad car. You can see the police chopper just making a pass right there.
I mean, look back at this other chopper we have a glimpse of. I mean, where we have had such a trek today. We
Yeah.
are
This kind of gives you an area of where they're actually at,
right.
which
It's-
is pretty far.
And the patience of these officers, the patience of the California Highway Patrol is amazing. And you can see there's a news van right there too that's already made its way in the area right next to that tree.
light truck. Yeah.
There's
Look at them
the
all.
one.
Actually, those
Oh,
are all.
We're all here. The gang's
those-
all here.
Those are actually all news vehicles, live trucks.
So the patience of the police officers, everything ended very peacefully. As confused as it can be as we're watching these, wondering why it doesn't just wrap up. They have their objectives and their guidelines and their strategies, and we absolutely respect that. And we are so thankful that no one appears to be injured in today's excursion.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of talk of why the highway patrol wasn't more aggressive, but the driver wasn't very aggressive at
Right.
all. This whole time he was just driving on the highway. At times, I would imagine if you were passing him, you would just think that he was a regular semi with quite the folks following him, but
And Bella tweeting us, he is the best, most respectful police evader I've ever seen.
that is true.
Well, that puts a bow on it, Bella. Again, look at this. Oh, I just lost the shot of the beautiful mountains, but it's like we are so far out of everything. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. My name's Kinsey Schofield.
I'm Justin Pizzera.
You see our Twitter handles right there if you want to keep the conversation going. We will personally tweet you, bring you updates on the suspect and any additional information we have. We'll tweet that once it's available. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us, literally your entire afternoon with us.
It's been a few hours. Oh, and I think the
And
chopper
we're
is
losing
going
it.
home.
So head on over to abc15.com, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. Thanks so much for
Making that long flight back to Los Angeles.
And that poor guy is in the back of a police car, hopefully AC'd up, in some nice handcuffs. That's a long trek too. All right, bye guys. Thanks so much for watching.